Welcome to Subramani. While investing or in life, there are certain things which you can control and certain things which you have to accept, right? For example, by playing a game of cricket, I can choose whether to hit shots on the ground or whether to hit shots in the air. If I hit shots in the air, I will be caught. I mean, I could be caught. I'm not saying I will be caught. There's a good chance that I will be caught. I cannot then change the rules and say no, catch is not out. No, I cannot change that. So certain things I have to control. I can control where to hit, but I cannot. I have to accept the rules of the game, right? Like for example, if I'm playing chess, I cannot say the rook can move across, right? It can only move in a straight line. The bishop can move across. The bishop can't move in a straight line. A horse will do two steps forward and one step to the right or left, right? That is how it will move. Those I cannot control. I cannot say a pawn will move backwards, right? Those are rules. Those I have to accept. But I can choose whether to play chess, what moves to make, right? Those things I can control, right? So same thing in investing also. There are certain things which you have to accept and certain things which we can control. What are the things within our control? We can choose whether to invest. There is no law in the world which says you must invest. You can choose whether to invest or whether not to invest. You can keep all your money in savings bank account. You can keep all your money in cash at home. There is no law which says you must invest, right? There is no way how you have to accept that there will be costs, right? You can only choose the level of costs. Should I choose a more expensive broker? Should I choose a more expensive fund house? What will be my transaction cost? Where should be my demat account, right? How much of taxes will I pay? If I sell within a few months, I will have to pay short-term capital gains tax, which is higher than the long-term capital gains tax. So those level of costs I can control. The level of cost and therefore the level of taxes, because I'm considering taxes also as part of your cost. We can choose how much, how diversified we want to be, how much in equity, how much in debt, how much in long-term investments, how much in short-term investments. Completely within our control, we can choose that. We don't have a problem. We also have to understand the rules of the game, saying that the greater the risk that I take, greater would be my return expectation. Whether I will get is a different matter, but obviously if I'm putting more money in equity, I'm expecting to get higher return in equity, and therefore I'm allocating more to equity. There is no doubt about that. This is the intended outcome. Intended outcome is I expect to get say 11% in equity and about 7% in debt. That is my expectation. I may end up getting 6% in debt and 8% in equity. That's a completely different matter. I may get wiped out for portions of my equity portfolio, but I don't expect to wipe out portions of my money in the debt portfolio. I take lesser risk in debt. I take a little more risk in equity. So in equity, I may have a large cap, mid cap, small cap. That is again within my control. And then there are specific risk, like what happens if you get very poor returns in the initial part of your retirement. We call that sequence of return risk, right? So then we can also choose and control. Remember this, we can also choose and control how we react to market situations, right? So everybody is now going to be making you feel guilty, saying, oh, you did not invest in March 2020. I can assure you, if the market comes down, nobody is going to ask you in April 2021, did you withdraw in November 2020? With retrospect, with hindsight being 2020, we will all comment afterwards. I do not know how many people told you to invest in March itself. That is important, right? And did you have the mental state to invest? So that is your control, right? There's no acceptance there. That is completely within your control. And how long to stay invested? Are you investing for a very long period of time, or are you a short-term investor? Are you a speculator or are you an investor, right? These are all questions which you can control, and it is completely within your control. However, you have to accept certain things. First and foremost, I don't think you have too much control over it. You must accept that you have to invest, especially for people earning 2-3 lakhs a year or 20-30 lakhs a year. Doesn't really matter. You have got to invest if you have got to make your goals be realized. Now, if you are earning say 30,000 rupees a month, after meeting all your household expenses, maybe you have 10,000 or 12,000 to invest, or maybe even less than that. Remember, the first few thousands of rupees, maybe first lakh or 2 lakhs, should be in bank deposits, because the most important thing at this stage is your capital preservation. Having done that, you have got to invest, right? So that is completely, you have to accept that you have to invest. You don't have too much of a choice if you want to create a corpus for yourself. You also can't decide when you will start investing. You cannot decide when to start investing. Imagine me telling you you should have started investing in 1977, because that is the time George Fernandez came out with those compulsory IPOs of MNCs, right? This is completely useless for you if you were born in 1986. How could you have invested in 1977? So when to start is completely within your control, but largely you cannot decide on the date. I can only say be an early investor. Start investing at 20 or 22. Whenever you start getting your stipend, start putting away a little bit, maybe in recurring deposits, to build your first 1 lakh or 2 lakhs of bank deposits, and then start investing. So at least you have to choose the date. So that date is not within your control. You did not choose when you should be born, so you cannot choose that date. You also have to understand and accept that risk cannot be avoided. Some risk can be transferred. For example, medical insurance or life insurance or critical illness insurance is transferring of risk, but those are pure risk. Investment risk cannot be transferred. There is no premium which you can pay and transfer your investment risk. In case you try to transfer your loss, the premium will be equal to the loss. So it is practically impossible to buy insurance against poor performance or poor returns that you get, right? You also have to accept that you can use a lot of past data to analyze what has happened, but that is no indicator of what will happen. In the month of December 2019, we did not know that the whole of 2020 will be hit by one small virus from China, right? We had no clue that this would happen. We had no clue how the market would react to that, right? So the market reacted typically as the market does, overreacted on the downside, and now it has perhaps overreacted on the upside, right? Now the assumption is, here is the vaccine and tomorrow we will be up and running, so everything will be back to normal. Well, that is how the markets seem to be behaving. You have to understand that neither can you predict the economically what is going to happen, nor can you predict how the market is going to react to that. For example, companies which are doing extremely well now are companies which are rich. They have a lot of cash flow. They can do a lot of their business just by being online, right? So obviously those companies will do well. But people might just get sick of that whole process and then start doing things very differently. So maybe the younger generation may not go on Facebook, so Facebook could be in trouble. There could be a rival for Google. There is already a lot of competition for Netflix, Amazon Prime being the best example. There is Walt Disney. I don't think the competitors are going to sleep, so which means Netflix also has competition. So these companies could have different competitors. It could react differently. People might want better quality content, right? Anything could happen. So we do not know how the markets will react. We have to only accept that the markets are completely unpredictable. There is another, little earlier I said insurance. There is no insurance available against for investing, for protecting your losses. There is one trick which is given to people, which is called diversification. So you put it some investments in metals, some in equity, some in gold, some in debt, some in real estate, and you think that one will counter the other. Maybe some in emerging markets, some in US, in Europe, in Japan, right? Those kinds. Everything that you do does not guarantee anything. You need to understand that there could be some markets which could perform well, some markets which could perform badly, and you may have got it completely wrong in terms of the sequence. You invested in Japan, and that time China did well, so therefore you invested in China, and suddenly Japan started doing well. All those risks are there, and there is nothing you can do about it except grin and bear it. So you diversify, or you concentrate and say, I don't understand all this, I will concentrate only on India, and in India I will put only in small cap and mid cap, I don't want large cap. Any of those calls, nothing protects you against market unpredictability. Diversification is not a guarantee that you will not make losses, right? If you want a greater potential return, you need to understand that you have to take risk. However, taking risk does not mean you will get better returns. That is also important. You need to know that you could take a risk, and you could run out of patience for 9 years, and then in the 10th year the market could go up and compensate you dramatically for the first 9 years. However, if you got out in the 9th year, you completely miss the buzz in the 10th year, right? Trying to beat the market is a good attempt, and everybody should make it, but if you can't make it, you should then shift to index funds, right? Or I don't know whether you should shift to managed funds, because shifting to managed funds will still require some effort and some help and some fees. The question is, will you make money in that after the fees that you pay? If you're not very sure about the answer, maybe 60-70% of your money should be in the index fund, and then what you do with the other 30%, you could compromise on cost, you could take fees, you could pay fees and get better quality advice than just putting money in an index fund. But do that with a smaller portion and keep comparing that with the index fund, right? There will be worldwide recessions, there will be worldwide growth in some companies. For example, India does not have the fastest growing companies in the world. They are either in US, in Japan, or in China, maybe in Israel, right? So they are just not there. In India, we don't have that kind of a high growth company. However, India will continue to have inflation. Remember, from 2014 onwards, thanks to Narendra Modi and Raghuram Rajan combination in 2014 and going forward now Mr. Shaktikanta Das, India has been able to contain inflation very well, so much so that we are almost thinking that, oh, there will be nothing called inflation. Please understand, inflation is part of the deal. The reason why you're getting a big number of return is simply because there is inflation. What you should be targeting is real return, that is the return that you're getting minus inflation. These are all things which you have to accept, and there is nothing that you can do about it. Investing is hugely emotional. Anybody who tells you to the contrary is wrong. You can control your emotions by maintaining a diary, creating an investment philosophy statement, by having your portfolio reviewed by a peer or by a superior boss, somebody, and accept their suggestions. Get your wife, children involved, get your brother involved, whoever, right? But it is emotional. It is very easy to say it is not emotional. It is emotional. There are reasons you buy, there are reasons you sell, apart from just pure logic, right? So understand that certain things are within your control, certain things seem to be within your control, but they are not. Like when to start investing. Of course, you know when to start investing, but you should start investing at the age of 23 or 24. But is that 1979, 1988 or 1989? I have no clue, right? So you can't choose the date. I mean, I can't choose the date for you. You have to choose the timing, saying from my second salary or from my third salary or from my first stipend, I will start investing. That choice is with you, but you have to accept that that date has been decided by your date of birth, right? I have spoken a lot about what you can control and what you have to accept. I am sure I missed some also. So I'll make an attempt at doing a better job next time. Thank you.